I'm lucky because when I start, I work with my idea.
You've really put, the map, the Aglianico del Vulture on the map of Italian wine.
Italian Wine Podcast. Chin Chin with Italian wine people.
Travel with Stevie Kim to Basilicata in southern Italy to visit Elena Fucci's winery on Mount Vulture, 600 meters above sea level. In this episode, Stevie tastes Titolo, Elena's signature Aglianico wine, and discovers what it means to be modern but not modernist.
Welcome to Italian Wine Podcast on the road edition. We've been spending the entire day with Elena of Elena Fucci, of course. And now we'll be tasting two wines. One is, of course, her signature wine. This is what she is all about, which is Titolo. First of all, why is it called Titolo?
Titolo is the name of this area where we live, where we have a cellar and where we have a vineyard. The name complete is Contrada Solagna del Titolo, and Solagna in my dialect is under the sun.
Okay.
Here we are in Barile, 600 meter high on top the Monte Vulture. The Monte Vulture is like 1,300 meters, and we are highest in the Vulture. And we produce only one wine, Titolo.
So why did you decide to produce only one wine?
In 2000, when I start, I have a single vineyard, a single grape. I'm from Basilicata, and Basilicata, the people in the world, they don't know where is Basilicata, what is Monte Vulture, what is Aglianico del Vulture. And I think, okay, it's important to have one vineyard, one grape, one wine, and it's possible for me to explain well my region, my terroir. And I start with only one label. This is the last vintage, 2019.
Okay. And is this wine already being sold and available in the market?
Yes. It's the last vintage, and we start to sell now the wine. When
do you usually release your wine? At what time of the year?
I start after the guide. The journalists speak about the new vintage in preview, and after we start to sell before Christmas usually.
So the 19, is this your typical wine?
Yeah.
Typical Titolo?
Yes. Usually I describe my wine in the modern but not modernist wine.
Right, you love to say that, right?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Modern because it's my idea of Aglianico, and not modernist because I work in respect the terroir and the variety. The typically center of Aglianico del Vulture are acidity, minerality, and tannin. And usually the people when think of South Italy or think of red wine in South Italy think of very hot weather, very strong red wine. But for the Vulture this not is true because we are in the middle, we are on the mountain, and the Aglianico del Vulture is a very elegant wine, and not more alcohol and not more extraction, but in the middle and on the mountain it's most important for me to work with elegance, acidity, minerality. And the typically characteristic are acidity because we are high. And we are 600 meter high on top the mountain. Minerality because the soil is a volcanic soil, and we are on the volcano. The Vulture is an old volcano extinct.
Yeah. And what about the soil? Are they all similar in terms of the soil composition?
Yes. It's similar, the soil in the whole. And this is another motive because I decide to making only one wine because I don't have many different soil in my vineyard. And the soil is a mini stratification, the mini eruption of Vulture and ash, lava, lapilli.
So you showed me when we were walking in the vineyard, you showed me there was a pot, there was a wall, and you can see all the different layers, the stratification of the soil types. Can you just basically tell our audience what the soil, can you just give us a bird's eye view of the
Yes,
soil.
when you see the soil here in 600 meter high Mount Vulture, you see the many colors of gray, light gray, and black. This color is the many different eruption of Vulture: lava, ash, and lapilli. Lapilli is a little stone lava. Okay, and sometimes is a brown part. The brown part is the clay and represent when the volcano is dormant, is sleeping. And today the clay is most important because the clay, the lava, ash and lapilli draining the water, the raining water, keep the minerality and nutrition facts, and the clay stop the water for the plants. The plants don't have never stress hydric. Is a macchina perfetta, as usually I describe my soil.
So do you think there are similarities with wines coming from all other volcanic area, like, I don't know, Etna, for example? Are there similarities in terms of the soil structure and then, of course, the wines that, become from these soils?
Yes. The soil is similar, and the variety are totally different, but usually the fil rouge on the volcanic wine is a minerality. And the minerality and the elegance, because usually on the volcano the weather is very cold, because the escorption night and day are very high, and the phenolic component, the phenolic maturation is perfect, where is the same on the Etna. Etna is on the sea, yes, and the variety, the grape is totally different of Aglianico del Vulture.
Let me ask you a question. Are there white grape varieties able to thrive, to grow in this area?
Here in the past we have more Malvasia and Moscato. The white grape.
What kind of Moscato?
Moscato, but for the sweet wine, not for or spumante. But in the past, in the 1917, in the 10 years, they cut the vineyard, the people here, and we don't have.
They pull the vines because they got money from the European Union,
today,
right?
Today is only Aglianico del Vulture, and we have the influence, the Campania influence, Fiano, Greco, but today we don't have a typically grape of white grape.
Yeah, I was just wondering, so there's. Right now, practically, how many producers are there of Aglianico del Vulture?
In the consortio today we are 60, but 20-25 producers have a very important structure, and they export in the world, and the other are very small. They produce only grape, and after they put the grape in the cantina sociale.
So they sell the grapes or bulk wine, right? Okay. All right. So, of course, how many wines do you produce? You produce Titolo, but there are you have different labels, right? You did a rosé recently. You did one in Amphora. Right?
I produce only Titolo, 25,000-30,000 bottles, and after I have many different color in the label with Amphora, Superiore, Reserva, and Rosato, but are very small special edition. And for example, Titolo is a 25,000-30,000 bottles, Rosato is 900 bottles.
Oh, so it's like nothing.
Reserva is 400 bottles, and the very small quantity.
And what about the Amphora wines?
And Amphora wines is 900 bottles.
But I just saw today that you had ordered additional amphoras.
Yeah.
So this means you will be
Yeah.
increasing
Yeah.
the production of amphora
Yes.
wines.
Because I think is a very good method of vinification. Because I start with a first experiment in the 2017, and now I decided to buy other 3 amphora, and with the 4 amphora it's possible to produce 4,000 bottles.
Yeah, 3,600
Sì,
at
sì,
least.
sì.
Yeah, nearly
Exactly,
4,000.
exactly,
Okay, yeah.
exactly. And the amphora is an Italian clay, and near Florence, in Pruneta, and the material of argilla is a little bit more porous.
Then the ones from, I don't know, Georgia or the Query or...
We are kilometro zero. The very quickly microoxygenation have a concentration in the wine, and the tannin is a little bit spigulous, but the minerality is for me wow.
Let's taste another wine.
Yeah.
A very special wine, which is the Reserva, and you're only making 400 bottles of this, right? All right, so we have now a Reserva, a very small quantity, which you produce 400 bottles per year. Where do you even distribute these bottles? Because I mean, obviously, you're only producing 400 bottles. Where do they end up? Who has access to this bottle?
It's possible to testing this wine in the cellar, and it's important for us that you come in Basilicata and you visit our cellar and you testing the special edition, because it's more difficult to have this special edition in the restaurant, in the enoteca, and the very small quantity of restaurant and enoteca have this wine, and they are very lucky because only 400 bottle is a very small quantity. And
so tell us the difference. What is the difference between the regular Titolo and the Riserva?
The Reserva aging 3 years in the wood, in the big wood, 500 liter in tonneau, and 1 year in the bottle before to start to market.
And where is Titolo?
Titolo 1 year in the barrel and 1 year in the bottle before to start to market. And for me,
But is it always tonneau? I can't remember.
no, tonneau and barrique.
Barrique. Whereas this is just tonneau.
Just tonneau, yeah. When I start, I work with my grandfather, but in the vineyard, not in the cellar. And for me, it's most important to changing my idea of because the Titolo, okay, today is a classic wine, but I don't know. I work well with my grape, and I don't know I have the master with my grape, because in the past I don't have the anthology in my family to confront my work today. And I'm lucky because when I start, I work with my idea. I'm lucky for this, because usually in the big family where the tradition is in the last century and in the century before, is very difficult to have an idea. And I'm working with my idea.
So you've been working very, very hard to establish yourself, and I think you did a fantastic job. You've really put, the map, the Aglianico del Vulture on the map of Italian wine, and I think it's fantastic. Can you just remind us? So you have Titolo, and then you have the Rosé.
Superiore is aging. The difference is in the aging. Is aging 2 years the Superiore in the barrel, in the tonneau 500 liter, and 1 year in the bottle before to start to market. But it's 400 bottles.
What would you like to do? What is the next step in terms of wine production for Elena Fucci? What is your vision? What is your next step in terms of production line?
My step not is to increase the number of bottle in the quantity.
So you have the capacity, because with the land that you own, the vineyard land, you can produce up to 60,000, but you're actually producing less than half, right?
Yes.
So but you still want to maintain 30,000 bottles in total, right?
Yeah.
So what is your vision?
Work more for the communication of Vulture and Basilicata, because in the 20 year we work, I and the other producer, we work very well, because the medium quality in this region is very high today. But the way, that is the way, is we start now. And the way is this, to explain in the word Basilicata, Aglianico del Vulture, because it's important that the people come in Basilicata.
Even myself, I hadn't come to Basilicata in many years. So I hope that is true. And that is a wrap for now. We've tasted 2 wines. Titolo, of course, the vintage is 2019, right? Yeah. And then, of course, the reserva, very special indeed. Titolo, it is the same one, except it's superiore riserva, and the vintage was 2017. Okay, very good. Ciao ragazzi, and by the way, I was listening to Elena Fucci's podcast interview with Xiao Wen. It was a Clubhouse edition. We had published it in August. If you missed that, please check it out. It's really a great fun interview as well. So that should also give you a better idea about Elena Fucci. Okay, and that's it from Basilicata. Chin chin.
Tune in for the next episode, where Stevie and Elena talk family, Albanian heritage, pasta making, and living on an extinct volcano. Chin chin with Italian wine people.